Yo, what's going on, guys? Back today with another video. I know it's been a while. I've been stuck with a lot of other stuff when it comes to like music and life, but today there's something that I want to talk about that I just got reminded of by watching this video. And I want to just talk about like your image like online and how you can become like sort of like trapped to whatever your image is. And I want to use two specific examples that I'll get into. So, whenever, like, me, I've always been someone that is the same online as I am IRL. Like, there's not much dissonance between how I talk on the internet and how I talk IRL. I might talk less IRL, and that's probably something I need to get better at, but that's besides the point. The main point is that how I act is very consistent between both platforms. And I feel like a lot of people are starting to take the internet persona and wildly misconstrue it from however they are in real life, and it's creating this really weird dissonance that it's starting to make a lot of people just seem super fake and very superficial. And it's like, it really, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of stuff is mainly for clicks, and I get that, but it's just like, it doesn't feel legit. You know what I mean? And the two examples I kind of want to go over to illustrate my point is two streamers that I've watched for quite a while now, and I've kind of seen grow from when they were, slightly smaller to being just these huge like phenomenons, and that's is Jinxie and IShowSpeed. Now I want to start with Jinxie because that's the person who inspired this, I guess, rant. And whenever Jinxie was starting out, obviously he started when he was like mad young. I think he was like, 14 or 15, and like he would always like stream even just to one viewer, and that one viewer that one viewer was his dad. That he said this, I gotta find the interview that he said this in, but he would just stream to one viewer every day for God knows how long, until he eventually started picking up more traction. I think it was from a lot of his TikTok clips, starting to use TikTok and started to go viral from like the TikTok clips. And obviously the character that he portrays in most of his streams is definitely a lot more like loud, and you can some would say obnoxious. I mean, I find it pretty funny, but I know that's just me. But as he kept going, it obviously get bigger and bigger and bigger, and to the point where eventually he'd end up hitting like 1 million subscribers on Twitch. And a big thing that I want to highlight about this, because I do remember being there in the stream whenever he had hit 1 million, and like he was like he genuinely like showing like he was genuinely like crying. And like the first thing he did whenever he hit 1 mil, the first thing he did, he called his dad, because that was literally his day one. And he's just so like appreciative of not only him but everyone around him that had helped him get to that point. And he talked again, referencing the same interview where this is from, but like he's always like he is a very like genuine person, like a genuinely good person, despite how he acts on stream and online. But like he genuinely cares about being a good person, helping not only his fans but then his friends around him. And a big example of this is obviously because he's a Siege streamer. And Siege is one of the bigger esports, so he ended up having a thing where like after Face It kind of like chilled off from Siege, and Face It is a third party service that most competitive games use, most famous for like Counter-Strike. He would host tournaments that he would run where it was basically like a 5-man teams tournaments every weekend. A lot of times it'd be both Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, where he would have people, all of his like friends and other people who'd signed up come together and like play in these tournaments to like actually win money. And not only were these like crazy entertaining, because he's obviously crazy entertaining, but like they were genuinely like bringing up, more people, to start getting into Siege. And a big fact about Siege is that most of the pros that play on PC, obviously, most of them start from console. And one of the most important ones to come from this is his friend called Stompin. Now, Stompin is someone that he met when he was like first starting out, and that kid is insane. Like, it was very obvious that he was a level above like everyone, and he was mad young. Like, he was like 12 or 13, just like destroying people on this game. And when these tournaments started up and he'd start playing with them in these tournaments, it became even more obvious that he was just a level above everyone else. And obviously these kept going and going. It got to a point like when he turned 18, he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go pro. Yeah, he said 18, I'm gonna go pro. And since he couldn't like play for like a pro team until then, he played for an academy team for one of the NA teams, and they got to a point where they were about to get into tier 1, but they lost in the final. So then the team broke up, and that team was again made up of people who were in the Jinxie tournaments like all the time. Like 4 out of the 5 people were like Jinxie tourney regulars. It was like Aiden, Vic, Stompin, obviously, and then Franklin, and then they had a 5th guy called Rice, who they used to start doing the pro team. And eventually, when they like lost and the team kind of broke up, Stompin just kind of waited until he actually turned 18, and then eventually he joins probably the most storied like franchise in the esport for Siege, and that's G2. And he joined G2 and has not looked like you could look up some of the clips that he has. I don't know if I'll be able to maybe include them in here, but he is insane. Like, he is genuinely he's so crazy. And Jigsy was there from day one, bro. Like, when he was first like on that academy team, he was like saying like this kid is the truth. He's going to be great. He's one of the best people in this game, and it'll be proven when he goes pro. And he's proven it. Like, he's unreal, man. And that is all come from, obviously it's come from him just being a ridiculous player, but it's also come from Jinxie being able to give him the opportunity to play in those competitive environments with his friends, and it's helped him. He's even said it in interviews after matches that scene of hyper competitiveness helped him prepare for the hyper competitiveness of being a pro. And it's obviously much more intensive, but it laid the groundwork for playing on stage in front of a bunch of people, because those tournaments would get like up to like 100K viewers. Like, I'm so like, those tournaments were packed, especially when they did the monthly tournament where it was much bigger and they did like double elimination. Those tournaments were packed and they took them so seriously, and it was cinema every time. And it's so crazy because him and so many of the other people that were in those tournaments actually ended up becoming like tier 1 pros. Like, obviously you have like Stompin, Aiden ended up on a team, Franklin is in tier 2, Wizard, who's someone from the UK, ended up on a team. Who else? Like, a lot of his friends are like in the like tier 2 kind of circuit, trying to come up to tier 1 now, and it's all because he laid that he gave them that groundwork, and then their talent has like propelled them to be even greater than what he could have like done on his own. And he's been supportive of it. Like, that's the biggest things, that he has been a huge supporter of all of them, and it's really crazy to see that like I was saying, even behind like the crazy obnoxious character, like he's still like a very good and caring person that cares about his friends and the people around him. And that's something that I feel like is sort of lost. And with the second example, I think it's an even greater example of what I'm talking about. Now, for Ice Show Speed, it's probably an even greater example of what I'm talking about, because when he was starting off, obviously he's young, grew up on the internet, and he definitely was super obnoxious, definitely did some extremely stupid things, and was 100% hanging around the wrong people, and ended up building a pretty weird fan base, so to speak. However, ever since not only distancing himself from those people, um, distancing himself from those people, uh, and starting to do the IRL streams where he go to places like he went around the U.S., went around Europe, he went to the Euros, met all of these like big name footballers, like went to China, is going through the countries of Africa right now. Like he's him getting away from those people and growing up has honestly been like one of the greatest like things to watch in real time. Like it's up there, like it's genuinely up there, and it's ridiculous to see, because not only the fact that he has ridiculous motion everywhere he goes, like he is quote unquote loved everywhere. Like if you've seen some of the scenes from the Africa tour, like they adore him. They are treating him like a brother. It is so nice to see. And my favorite part about both the Africa stream and the China stream is that he knows what he's doing, and he's doing it intentionally. He's intentionally rolling back like years and years of propaganda for his audience, which is not only the initial audience that he grew up with that are now grown with him, but to younger kids that can actually look up to someone who is a positive influence in many different ways. And he's also just a genuinely good person. Like he supports the freedom of Palestine. He's just a very like nice person, very like strong in his beliefs, and it's very nice to see someone that looks like me having this much motion start off basically in their bedroom and like grow from the person that they used to be into this like great massive influencer, and using that influence for good. That's the biggest thing, is that he's using that influence for good, and he's essentially like saved his image. Yeah, because obviously before he was definitely like playing into all of this bad stereotypes about African Americans, but now it's like he's built himself into being a role model. Like it's just so insane to see, and it's honestly something I wish more people were able to do, not in the terms of like, you know, blowing up and being successful, but like being able to just change into that like role model and be able to change your image to be positive while also still being genuine and actually believing in what you say. And I kind of want to bring that all into relating into what I do now, because with making the type of music I make, where with like Slushwave and Vaporwave, a lot of the, you know, general consensus of the genre is kind of built off of, you know, this like mask, you know, this being anonymous, being like reclusive, sort of like out of the way of people. And it's like I just don't think that's just not the way anymore. And it's like certain bigger artists not realizing that that despite them trying to like purposely distance themselves away from the community that they built themselves off of and got really famous and pretty rich off of, that they, to the normal eye, to the average person getting to the genre, they're still like one of the big pillars of it. And it's like you just gotta be wary of the image that you're creating, because not everyone is as tapped in as, say, me, who's in the server, being able to actually talk with everyone, have the community, make the collaborations. It's like people are still gonna take what you say about the genre, rather seriously, seeing as you're, big. You're still one of the big pillars in the average person's eye, like I said. And so this is why you can't just try to like dismiss how big you are and disassociate, because people still put a lot of stock in what you say. And that's where I come to say, or the main purpose of this video is that the image you put out definitely matters, but it matters even more that that image matches how you are as a person. Because especially when it comes to any sort of content creation, whether it's YouTube, streaming, music, excuse me, your image is extremely important, and it can come into very big question whenever your actual character is not only not matching the image in terms of like, let's say, like the stuff you believe, or the person you are starting to really like shun down on the actual image that you're putting out. So it's like it's a two-way street. And that's why I've always been someone to where I act online how I act IRL. Like, I talk online how I would talk IRL to an extent. Like, that stuff is really important. And when they start to really like disassociate, it starts to get to a point where it's like you may need to like I don't even know. You need to be transparent, in my opinion. And that's a big thing that I want to push for in the genre now that I'm actually able to make it, put it out, have a voice within the community, is that you need to put out a good image, and you need to maintain that good image. And it's not like you need to be this perfect pillar. You just need to, you just like it. At the end of the day, it really just comes down to being at the bare minimum. You gotta be a good person at its core, and you can't like be so dismissive of the people in the community that got you here in the first place, because then it starts to really look like you're doing it for other intentions that isn't art, and it starts to bring into question the motives that you have, and it starts to then pull you into that moral gray area where it's like, oh yeah, they're talking like this, but I mean they made this, it's like I don't, that's something I never want to end up being. So I am going to continue to stand on all of the beliefs that I put out on social media, or that I say IRL, because I don't want to end up having to be disassociated from my music because of the stuff that I'm saying in the sort of community that I'm building up, because I don't think that's right. I think that they should be one and the same. There should be a healthy community, both of your own music and helping out everyone else, being, nice and open to everyone else. But also that doesn't mean that you don't just let stuff slide. All right, you can't. I'm not gonna just let stuff slide. I'm not just gonna like back down on my beliefs to appeal to whatever higher power, because that's just not me. That's just not that's corny, and it makes you look like a shill. And you don't believe that platform you're standing on. It's phony. I got that. That's just not me. That'll never be me, ever. And that's really the main point I wanted to get across with the two previous examples, and speaking on the community right now, because I think now it's in a place where people are much more, open in terms of actually being themselves, and in terms of being communal with everyone in, the server, which is, social Slushwave Social Club. Shout out the goats. And yeah, I just think that the stronger the community, the better everything becomes. The more we help each other out, the better everyone gets, and the more popular the genre will end up becoming as a whole, because people will see it, instead of it being as some like super secretive like society. It'll be more of like it's the open community where everyone is welcome to come in and be themselves. And that's what I think is the best part about Slushwave, is of how communal it is. I've probably said that like twice already, but it's true. Like everyone in that server, all the staff, all the regulars, it's a great place to be, and they helped me a lot before I even started making music, and they've been helping me ever since I started making music, and it's been amazing, and I can't thank them enough. So thank you to everyone there for believing in me. And that basically wraps up all of the stuff I wanted to talk about for the main video, and sort of some side stuff for the end. Obviously, new album out now with Roses Over Eden. Listen to that. I've seen the numbers for it. You guys have ran that album up crazy, despite it being kind of a shadow drop. And it's still like ridiculous to see that many people actually listening to my stuff. I still can't believe it. And shout out to all the people that bought A Star Is Born on CD. You guys, that is still that's still ridiculous to me. Oh my god, I can't believe I actually have my music on CD. That's insane. And hopefully, hopefully, I can end up hitting my goal of not only getting a cassette release, but ending up at the Slushwave Fest 2026. That is the big goals, and there is definitely much more music in the pipeline soon. So be on the lookout for that. But that's enough for me. What is you guys' opinion on this? It's nice talking to you guys again. It's great to be back on the channel. I don't know if I'll be able to be here frequently, but I'll do my best. But like I said, that's enough for me. I hope you guys all have a good day. Make sure to check out the new music, and I'll be seeing you guys.